I was wondering why they keep talking about my life, and I think it's because they have nothing else going on in their life. Like, literally nothing. Everything that happens in the city has something to do with me, or is related to me somehow, or is associated with me somehow. So they've completely just lost it and have just decided to stalk me and talk about me incessantly. Like their entire social life revolves around me and what I do, which is creepy. And they don't actually understand that they're the ones who aren't actually being taken care of. Like they think that I'm the one that's suffering, not them. This is the really funny part. This is the entire joke. And that I'm really really suffering and I'm heartbroken and I'm just so sad and upset about what's happened, and that nobody cares about my happiness or how well I do, and I need somebody else to care about that for me, even though that's what they're like. They need somebody else to look after them and make sure that they're doing well and that they're happy. They need other people around them consistently and always. And they don't understand that that's not applicable to me specifically because I'm actually a mature adult. I don't need other people to surround me and hound me and like text me every day to make sure that I'm alive in order for me to be happy. That's not one of what makes me feel like a valid member of society. But for them, that's what they feel like, and they keep trying to tell me that how what them and I are completely the same. We're equals. There's no difference between me and them. And like I'm not trying to compete or divide people or anything. That's not like what I'm trying to say. But what I'm really saying is that they think that they're me. They think they're just as attractive as me, just as funny as me, just as likable as me, and they're just as desirable as me. And they think that my motivations and goals are their motivations and goals because we're already married in their heads. And every time they feel insulted and they feel like shit about themselves, they have to say something to me to share their feelings to me because I care about their feelings. So that I don't hurt their feelings anymore, even though they can hurt my feelings. Because they're hurting my feelings because we're such close friends and good friends and they know exactly how I feel and what I'm thinking. That's them. It's the staff here in a nutshell, and I'm like, and before people like try to say, oh, don't you think that these are the only people willing to work here? No, the government workers are intentionally hiring the wrong people here because they don't want anyone to work here. So they hired a bunch of bums, and they're like trying to insult the people here by saying you're also like these bums, and I'm like, nobody here is really a freeloader, except for the staff. They're specifically all freeloaders, and I'm like, how are we the freeloaders if the government screwed up and they can't actually find jobs or housing for the citizens here, which is their responsibility? It just doesn't make sense to me specifically. To me, I'm like, okay, so you're trying to say that you screwed up and then that I should feel bad about myself because you screwed up. Doesn't make sense. That's not how people feel. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people empathize with them, with the whole, like, I understand you feel bad, and I also feel your bad feelings that you're feeling. Like, I feel your pain. You know, empathy. But, like, they don't really understand what empathy is. So they think that, like, when I empathize with them, which is, like, a pro-social behavior, they think that's this equivalent of me feeling bad. So I'm like, I know you're feeling insulted, so here's how I'm responding and having an effort to make you feel better. And then they completely take that the wrong way and then proceed to insult me further and degrade themselves further. And I'm like, don't you think this is why people don't like you? Like, not because of anything else, but just that's how you respond to people who are literally helping you. And that's probably affecting your social life, which is affecting how well you're doing. And they're like, no, that's you. Like, they just completely block it out. They don't think it's like me. I mean, they don't think it's them that's doing that. They think it's me. And I'm not gonna be the one to like sit down with them and like have a conversation that their parents should have had with them when they were like 15. You know, like, hey, sweetie, or hey, honey, maybe you should think about, like not doing that kind of stuff anymore because like you gotta start thinking about your future. Don't you care about like your friends and stuff? Like, if you keep doing that, you're not gonna have any friends, and like you're not gonna have a good job, and you're gonna be really unhappy for a lot of the times that you're alive, and you don't want that, do you? And then they'd be like, what do you mean, mom or dad? And I'd be like, you need to start focusing on school and get your grades up so you can go to university and then find a stable career. Yes, please have a goal in your life other than trying to make yourself look like a huge piece of shit because you're making us look bad. That's not what they said. What they really said is, we care about you, sweetie. We want you to do well in life. Do you need some extra tutoring? I got an email from your teacher that they're providing extra tutoring after school now. Please, attend one of those sessions. Goodbye, child. And that is the last time them and their parents ever had some sort of meaningful discussion. Afterwards, it was just kind of nonsense, jibber jabber, just to fill up the noisy times or whatever. So it's not super awkward when they're home. They're trying to hide the fact that they hate their kids. I mean, it's so obvious that they hate their kids, and I'm like, I get that. I don't like your kids either. I'm with you on that. But at the same time, they're giving me problems, and it's your kids, so it's your responsibility. Not mine. Also, they don't actually, because they work here, they can get fired, and I can get other people to work here. I don't need those people working here. They're not they're very easily replaceable. Okay? There's people like that everywhere. So I don't actually need them specifically to be here. I just need somebody to work here, right? Anybody. You know what? I don't even think we need those workers, to be honest. The people at the shelters I've met, they're actually pretty capable of functioning independently and amongst themselves to the point where it's kind of a waste of money to even hire people there. Because you know what? I've actually encountered problems from staff more than the residents. So every 10 times the staff has given me problems, there was one incident with a resident that I've had problems with that was solved immediately or was manageable. Yeah, this is a fact. Okay, these are the statistics. I've been observing them and their behavior. They don't think people do that. Again, this is why it's so frustrating for me personally, because everyone already knows, any mature person knows, the reason why people should behave themselves is because other people can watch how they're behaving, right? And if you are the type of person that's like that, it's easy to take advantage of people like that because they're very emotional. You just kind of target their emotional state, and then you manipulate them through their emotional responses, right? And then you can get them to behave in a way that causes them to be a type of person that they may never see themselves as such. And then they become a criminal after, because they lose all sense of reality or sense of self, and they need to see a therapist after, and they don't understand what's going on because they didn't have that solid relationship with their mother when they were babies, right? And that's why I've been trying to tell them, you need to behave yourself. They don't really get this, okay? They think that I'm being overbearing and that I'm also being like their mother. I'm like, no, your mom really literally hates you. I can tell. This is why I'm telling you this, because there's actual bad people out there who see that and will take advantage of you, okay? They'll make you do things that you never thought you would be able to do. And that's bad. And you wouldn't be able to understand it because there's a whole cognitive dissonance, right? Where they're actually not that type of person to do those things, but then they are goaded into doing those things right below their consciousness level, right? Because this is there's a level where people are aware of what they're doing and unaware of what they're doing, right? And this is kind of like a gradient, like a spectrum. Yeah, okay, so they don't know this, okay? And when people don't do that, like when people behave themselves as expected or with manners, good manners and good etiquette, no one knows what they're actually like or their preferences, but it's good enough for them to be able to converse with other people. It's great, okay? You don't need to get into fights. People don't actually know you very well. Nothing's really personal. But then when they do that and then they do things very in a personal way, then people actually get to know what they're like and their motivations and their goals and the relationships that they have with their family. They let all of that out to strangers who don't even know them, right? They don't really care about them. There's no relationship there, but why would you say that to people with no relationship to? Like, this is kind of like where it's important to assess who's a good person and who's a bad person. Right? Why would this person do these things and why would that person do those things? Right? What motivates this person versus what motivates that person? Not everybody is motivated by the same thing. I mean, that kind of ties into the whole poverty schematic, right? Where the government is trying to motivate people into doing something well, so as a group they can work together to get people out of poverty, right? So no one's really affected that negatively by each other. But again, because there's differences within the individuals, not everybody is motivated by the same things, right? Like, not everyone's goal is to make a lot of money. Some people have completely different goals in life, and sometimes you never really understand what their goals in life is until it's way too late, because it takes them that long to understand that person, right? Sometimes, like with psychologists, they've managed to make some sort of assessment to make it easier for people to understand people's motivations and goals and personalities, so you can get along with that person easier. So if you know this person responds this way in this situation, maybe it's better not to do that thing in that situation where they'll respond negatively. It will cause problems, right? And that means that person will no longer see you as a benefactor or a beneficial entity within their group. Okay, this is the sociology part. Okay, the socio majors. Okay, so if there's a group, right? And then every individual within that group wants to function so the group is benefiting or is succeeding or can acquire resources necessary to survive. Right? These goals and motivations differ as people's lives change and they get their needs met, right? So maybe currently right now my needs are food, housing, and employment, right? And entertainment. That's important. People neglect it a lot, but entertainment is really important. So these are, again, just with entertainment, not everybody finds the same thing fun. Okay, some people find things fun that other people find completely boring. Those are the whole preferences and opinions coming into play, right? Like, I personally wouldn't do things to other people or for other people without a reason, because again, that's offensive. Right? It's like you're telling them that they can actually acquire those things on their own without you interfering and forcing them to accept things that they don't actually know where it's coming from. Right? They don't know you. They don't know if you're like a good person or not. Like, there's a lot of crazy people out there who steal from other people and give those things to other people in need, thinking that they're doing a good thing, because they're not very aware of what they're doing. They don't understand that's not okay. But yeah, that's what they're like. Anyway, this is kind of why I don't understand that. I'm like, why are you telling me so much about your life? And also, I'm not the only person here. There's so many people around here who can hear you and see what you're doing. But you don't think these people are taking note of that and saying, oh, how can I utilize this to make sure that I have access to things that I actually is a need for me within those 4 categories: housing, food, employment, and entertainment. This is very basic. How to meet people and make friends in 101. I mean, I think a lot of people consider this to be sociopathic or psychopathic. I just understood the difference between those two terms. Sociopathic is kind of like going against the grain of the group for one's own benefit solely. That's the difference between mentally ill people, sociopaths, and psychopaths. Is that mentally ill people, they're not actually aware of what they're doing, right? Like, their emotional responses or their mental, like, the perceptions are kind of skewed in a way that they don't really understand what's going on, right? This is why they need to be treated and told this is not okay and this is why these things are not okay. But with people who have who are considered sociopaths or psychopaths or like hardened criminals or something like that, they know that it's not okay. They're intentionally doing things that are not okay because it will benefit them at the end, regardless of the legal consequences. In fact, the smarter ones actually know about the legal consequences and will use that to their advantage. That's a psychopath. With a sociopath, they do consider how the group that they are associated with is involved in what they're trying to get accomplished. I mean, if you don't go along with what they're doing, then it's going to damage that person. And it's not really for anyone else's benefit but themselves. Right? There is a benefit only for that person, and it's not like they will actually cause problems for other people just for themselves to get what they need. That's It's a sociopath. A psychopath, on the other hand, their entertainment is actually surrounded by the pain of other people. Right? They find that kind of stuff funny because they don't really consider people to be, they consider them to be expendable. Right? So to a psychopath, they don't understand. They think it's funny to intentionally goad people into responding a certain way so they can respond back in a certain way, and it's manipulative, and they find pleasure in those manipulative techniques because they consider that person to be worthless or stupid. Right? They're like, haha, that's a stupid idiot. It thinks it can live. Look at it. And I start torturing people because they find pleasure in it. That's what they find fun. Again, there's different levels to it because there's different IQ associated with these psychopathic tendencies, right? But that's the whole thing with people. And I mean, I guess a lot of people don't understand. Just because somebody may seem like one is not a really good indicator that they are one. And also, everybody finds different things fun or unfun or boring or whatever. I don't like jazz. I think jazz and scat and all those 1920s music is completely boring. It gives me a headache. I hate jazz. Jazz is the worst genre of music. I stand by this. Preston loves jazz. I found out today. He loves the saxophone. He loves jazz. And I'm like, we're going to have a problem with this. Because right away, right off the bat, I know that he doesn't want to listen to the music I want to listen to. And he's going to give me problems because of it. He doesn't want to listen to that. Why? Because he hates music that I like, because he likes jazz. I know from the fact that he likes jazz. He's not gonna like any music I like. Who likes jazz? I didn't know jazz was for dogs. That's just weird. Why would you make music for dogs? Are you playing for dogs or something? I guess it's you're bored. Is that why? I have no idea. Preston. Yeah, but anyway, that's what that is. I don't understand. This is kind of why it's bothering me. It's harassment, because imagine if it wasn't a physical form, it would be the same thing as somebody who just takes off their shirt and exposes themselves and their genitalia to other people in hopes of getting their attention and getting them to be attracted to them. I don't understand why anybody would do that, but that's what that is, socially speaking. And it's so discomforting to everyone. And they don't even know that it's discomforting. They think that's normal. They're trying to do the shock factor, amaze yourself at how my body is and love me. And it's oh my god, what is this freak?